Now, the rest of the story.
Hopefully you guys aren't as blinded as I am. I'm in the last like 15 minutes worth of cutting. And then I guess you could say that all of Dad and Ryan's hay for 2021 is cut. Ryan cut a bunch yesterday with the 46 and the coon. I was running around the country with the 76 and the Rhino 4155, cleaning up some waterways and grinding up some saplings that were coming up in some of these pastures that were really starting to get on my nerves. I do have a bunch more that I want to do, but now it's looking like it's going to be really after harvest, hopefully before winter. I'll go out and clean them up. I mean, the grazing season will be over, but the brush and the saplings will still be there next year if you don't do something with them. And I guess this is pretty much the kickoff to fall, or the, I don't know if I want to say the downhill slide into the end of the year or the fall season, but starting making the last of the hay for the year. And the way some of the crops look, I mean, I've been, in the last 2 days, I've been over 90% of our crops, or at least been through them and around them. And, well, Andrew's been saying all year we're 2 weeks ahead of last year, and it's really starting to show. The reason I say that is because we got some soybeans that are completely bare of leaves, still not ready to be harvested quite yet because it's only patches throughout the field, but the beans went from green to kind of showing signs of yellow to looking like they're not very far from being ready to be harvested. And we got that across all of our bean acres. We got some that are some, was it 2 7s, 3 7s, beans that I planted that were meant to be longer day beans. They are still pretty green yet, but I also fertilized and planted the variety that is going to utilize the nutrients I put down and the spray that I applied. And it's everything I do is pretty much pushing for high yields. I mean, I can't really afford to take it easy on any of my crop ground. So the way some of this stuff is looking, especially for waterway hay, this is probably like one of the more mind-numbing jobs you can do. Not cutting hay. I love cutting hay. Cutting hay is my go-to favorite job for the year. It really is, or for the summer. My problem is it's cutting waterway hay. It's tedious, it's monotonous, it goes on and on forever. You don't really seem like you get anywhere. You're backing up, you're getting in tight corners, going back and getting, half swaths, 3-4 feet swaths, and it really wears on your brain just because you don't really feel like you're getting anywhere. Is it worth it? Yeah. I mean, everything that I've cut today, I'd say with how it all looked, for everything that I've cut myself today, I'd say I got probably 30-35 bales worth of material cut. I mean, I started at 11, it's currently 6. When you're feeding to your own cattle, 35 bales, at least for us, does go a long ways. I mean, we're only feeding out, what do we average? probably 10 bales a week, give or take. And I guess it really depends on how much corn fodder we're putting in too. But it really boils back to, especially on ground that you're renting. Like for me, I had 12 acres of waterways that I cut. The only reason I know how many waterways are there is because I GPS'd them, because I want to know what I'm dealing with. And 11 acres is a lot of acres to literally just let grow up to grass and hit it with a rhino cutter or brush hog it and just leave it lay. So if I can get 2 cuttings off of it, it's worth it. I mean, it goes right back into the cattle, or if I have to spin around and sell it, I will. Which, selling hay's been an up and down roller coaster as far as prices. Prices back when we were in the heat of that drought, or dry spell is what I like to say. We really haven't been in a drought. You were looking at like 30 bucks a ton more for hay, or grass hay, than what I was getting in January last year, or earlier this year. Now we got that, 3 inches of rain, I think is what it all added up to over a week or so there. See, this what I'm doing right now, this is kind of what drags out the waterways. What was I saying? Man, you can tell this is kind of, my head's kind of numb. It had something to do with cows, right? When it comes to selling the hay, when I was getting, we got that 3 inches of rain. The hay price has shown that. I'm guessing that we got enough rain, which 3 inches is enough to rejuvenate pastures. Hay prices started to get soft. They're still better than what I was getting last winter, but they dropped. I mean, right about even with what I was getting last winter. So the only reason I was selling hay that I was is because I didn't have room for it. And the way it's looking right now, if everything down at the valley, if I average like a ton to the acre, averaging what my hay's been averaging going across a scale, it's like 170 bales. If it averages like a ton and a half, it's like 270. And if you do it even by 2 ton to the acre, which I don't know if it'll do 2 ton to the acre. I mean, the bottom ground is what's really going to be pulling in the lion's share of the yields down there. That would really have to perform to get 2 ton to the acre, at least I think. I mean, I'll know once I sell everything, but at 2 ton to the acre, it's like 340 bales. Holy crap. 2 ton to the acre really doesn't seem like that out of question when I've pulled over 4.5 ton to the acre off that down there before, off the bottom alone. Only problem is that was first cut. That was way overripe. So, I don't know. I'm not trying to get my hopes up. So, no expectations, no disappointments, I guess. I mean, we were setting for a really spectacular year this year. Until that wind hit the home farm, which, granted, it still looks like shit, but it doesn't look as bad as it did last year. Last year, looked like a steamroller hit it. A lot of it this year, it looks like it's just laid over. It's just kind of pushed over, as opposed to being just on the ground. You can see the fucking dirt. And trying to harvest that. I mean, I think we'll get by. I mean, I hate using that quote from my grandparents because I absolutely hated when they used to say it, but it's the truth. Grain prices were a lot better this summer than what they were last year. Yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah.